Hey Jill, thanks for joining me. This
Hi,
is really
George.
exciting.
Good to see
You
you.
know,
This is gonna be fun.
yeah, I'm excited because what we're doing here is I was thinking about you the other day, and I wanted to create something to really launch or accelerate the revenue for my app, Profit Stash. And you've known what I've been building for years, right? From creating a new brand 2 years ago, More Profit Rocket, and then you've known when I was building the app 10 years ago, right? And even the first version of this app in 2007, which turned into working with an aerospace manufacturing company, right? But even predates that
Oh my
because
gosh.
you knew me when I was practicing as a plastic surgeon. Yeah.
That is unreal. What is that, like
I know.
over 20 years now?
Yeah, because I retired, I pulled the eject handle on my plastic surgery practice in 2003. So you knew me before that. Yes. Yeah, that was over 21 years ago.
That's so
This is
fun.
2020. Yeah, this is 2024. So let's talk a little bit about the chronological history. And then I would like to share like what's the big plan, whatever we call it, the big bang, or there's I wanted to play this game to rapidly accelerate revenue. And then we'll talk about how we arrived at the goals because you and I briefly talked about this the other day. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, when I started my coaching business in 2005, I didn't know how to get clients. Nobody knew me as an entrepreneur. But long story short, within 73 days of scheduling my very first workshop, I had enough clients on a consistent basis. I was bringing in $10,500 a month. And all these clients were on 12-month long commitments. So I knew fairly reliable, right? And then 6 months after that, one of my coaching clients, different coaching client than the original group, beat my record. He did it in 70 days. And this has to be sustained. It's not like 1 month blip. No, it has to be sustained over months, right? So I wanted to share that as the context for why we're talking about my history, the chronological history of how this evolved from me being a plastic surgeon to what I'm doing today as a strategic coach, but tech founder, app developer, and copywriter, all these things, right? And so you're the perfect person to have this conversation with because you were there from the very beginning before we knew what the heck was going to happen,
I
right?
love that. I
Yeah.
think I remember
Yeah.
meeting you. Um, we were interviewing for the book, and
Yeah.
you came through, and I was like, this guy, I really like this guy. He'd be perfect for the book we were writing. And
Yeah.
I forget what your chapter was about, but I just remember you really stood out to be like something um, magnificent was going to be coming out of you. Like there was always just something about you that um, made me smile, I guess. And what you said about getting clients, generating a $10,500 per month within 72
Mhm.
days of starting your coaching business. Like I work with hundreds of coaches every year, and that's a really remarkable stat, like that getting that up and running that quickly, and switching over to an income like that, I think is that in itself is pretty amazing. So I think
Yeah.
it's pretty great that
I,
you made that happen.
I didn't think it was any big deal at the time. I just was trying to be very practical about it and not have to go back to doing plastic surgery. All right. Yeah, but let's start at the beginning. So I had always, wanted to write a book. I just didn't know about what. And I remember when my wife and I were first dating, we had talked about like one of our dates, first dates, we talked about, oh, we want to write a book individually about something. I didn't know about what. And I saw this email come through about a book publishing mentorship, right? Which is the one you were helping with. So I submitted my application and had a bunch of conversations about whether to do it or not. Now I said, I'm a practicing plastic surgeon. I don't know why. what I would write about for a business book that you're putting together, as part of the mentorship training, right? And I'm like, I'll figure it out. So ultimately, I remember, I don't remember the exact name of the chapter, Jill, but it was about how your health is the foundation of all wealth. That's what I wrote about. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's
But I
right.
didn't know what I was going to do with the book either. But I do remember it was a year long program, wasn't it? Was it
Mhm.
year long? Okay. Yeah. And then the end product of that was learning how to write a book and then publish it, right? But then it came out, and I remember the day a semi truck pulled up in front of our house, and I knew that was the books, and they unloaded boxes of books. I'm like, oh, great. What am I going to do with these books? So I started giving them out, and I gave them out to a couple of independent local landscaping companies. And I'll take a look at this book. You're trying to grow your business, and you'll find interesting articles and chapters in here. And then both of them came back to me and said, "Hey, this is great. Could you coach us in our business?" And I was like, and this is after, so I pulled the eject handle on my practice in 2003 after our second son was born. And I didn't know what I was going to do next. Didn't plan to do it. My wife had said if I kept going like this, I was going to die an early death. I was like, you're right. I got to get out of this thing. Right? My dream job turned into a daily nightmare. Um, and so when the book came out and these local businesses asked me to coach them, I was thinking, I'll coach you while I'm figuring out what I'm going to do when I grow up. I don't know. And then after the 2 weeks of coaching each of them separately, I remember thinking, oh, this is great. I actually know a lot about more about entrepreneurship than I realized. Why don't I make this a business? Right? And because at that point I had gotten really lost. I had spent, after I left plastic surgery in 2003, I didn't know what I was going to do. I tried these different entrepreneurial things, none of which worked. I spent a lot of money this first 2 years not making any money. And I got so lost, I actually hired a life coach. I was just totally wiped out, burnt out, confused. I My confidence was not even registering on the meter at that point, right? And so, and I don't remember why. I think intuitively, Jill, I just thought, okay, I should be part of this book mentorship program. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know what I was going to do with the business book, but yeah, that's how it came about, right? But once that truck pulled up, and you probably arranged for that truck delivery, right?
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, what happened was like I said, I gave it to landscaping companies, and then after I said, okay, let me make this a business.
What was it
Yeah,
about landscaping companies that you went to first?
it was just by happenstance. One landscaping company has sent us a postcard, and it was a cool idea. They would pre-deliver, they do a plan, and they just deliver the plans, and you dig the holes and put them in.
Oh,
I thought that's cool. So I called them and I said, "This is a cool idea." And they said, "Oh yeah, we're just testing this out." And I said, "Great," And I found out they're trying to grow their business, and I'm like, "Oh, well, when you come by for the consultation, I'll show you." He came, no, I didn't tell him about the book. He came by for the consultation. I thought it was awesome, and I said, "Oh, here, you take a copy of my book," and that was it. I didn't say hire me as a coach. I didn't even think of myself as a coach. I just gave him the book, and then he came back. He called me a week later and said, "Hey, this is great. Could you coach us?" Huh?
awesome. That's great.
Right? Yeah. So once I said, okay, I could run this as a business because I knew I'd heard of other people being business coaches. Then I said, okay, well, let me just call people and see if they want to have me do a free consultation with them. I had this list, Jill, of like 165 people. But the problem is they were all in the medical world. They're physicians, and like none of them are running their own businesses, right? And so I think I got through the list of like maybe 30 or 60 people I called. And I had this many people take me up on my offer for a free consultation. Zero. What? And in the meantime, my backup plan. So my wife said, well, what's your backup plan if this doesn't work? And I'm like, backup plan? You're looking at the backup plan. And she was like, that's not quite what I had in mind. So I did arrange, I had a contract waiting for me in Beverly Hills, which for those who are not in the United States is one of the cosmetic surgery meccas in the world or in the United States. But that's one of the reasons I left plastic surgery. I signed up to do reconstructive surgery, reconstructive plastic surgery, help people with accidents, injuries, congenital things. But uh, I ended up doing more and more cosmetic surgery because it paid better. I didn't have to fight with insurance carriers, but it gave me a lot of heartburn. Just taking basically normal people, they pay me a lot of money, making them really uncomfortable, and it may or may not help. Probably wasn't going to help because it's really an inside job for the most part. And I don't
Yeah.
have anything against cosmetic surgery, but it's just, I knew I just wasn't, that's not what I signed up for. So it was very stressful. Anyhow, that was my backup plan to go to Beverly Hills. They kept calling me every 2 weeks. When are you coming out? I put in, got my fingerprints done for my licensure.
I didn't
And I
know
was
that
like, oh,
part.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know you were thinking about,
Really?
yeah, going to Beverly Hills as a backup plan.
Ah,
Yeah.
that was my backup. Yeah.
Hmm.
I was going to commute from Seattle to Beverly Hills.
Hmm.
Yeah, they were up for it. Oh, anyhow, so after 30 days of calling people and nobody took me up on my offer, I looked out the window here and I was like looking at all the trees back there and thinking, the right people just haven't found me yet. I have something really valuable to offer. What can I do to make it easy for those people to find me that's quick, running out of time, running out of money, and that plays to my strengths? So I said, I'll do a live workshop. I can do that. I can talk about anything, even if I don't know anything about it. Right? So I went to the local hotel, Embassy Suites, and I booked a room, hotel conference room. I think it's $500 plus. You got to have tea and coffee, right? And it's going to be in the morning, so you have to have continental breakfast, right? So whatever that cost. And so I scheduled it for 30 days from that date because I was running out of time and money. And Jill, I spent 2 weeks trying to build a website. Why? What was I thinking? Well, you know, I was thinking all the big boys and girls have a website. I'm playing big. I'm playing a big game. I need to have a website. What? Back then in 2005, it wasn't as easy to build a website as it is today, right? Today you can push buttons and it's done. So I struggled. Nobody knew how to help me. I don't know why. I just couldn't find resources how to do it. So the most I did is I had a flyer for my workshop and I was able to put up a PDF of the workshop. So that took me all 2 weeks. 2 weeks, Jill. So then 2 weeks left to go. I'm like, ah, well, I have a problem here. You know, the problem was, who am I going to invite? Who's coming to this doggone thing? Nobody. I didn't have an email list. I didn't have real business card. I didn't even need business cards. I had nothing. And nobody knew me nobody had ever paid me a penny for business advice. This sounds like a recipe for success.
Did you have like a registration or anything, or did you have no idea like
Yeah.
who was going to show up or anything like that?
Oh, I bought this shopping cart and yeah, you could have a registration. It was like $20 to sign, 20 or $25 to sign up. But who was going to sign up? Nobody's coming to the website. What? I spent 2 weeks doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was I thinking? So I canceled the event. What was the only sane and rational thing to do? Cancel the event. Yeah. So I sat here twiddling my thumbs for a couple days, like, okay. I was rethinking, I was kind of shifting my mindset to get ready to go to Beverly Hills. But I thought, no, I can't. I'm not giving up. Really have something valuable to offer. Hmm. Okay. What if I what if I do the workshop, Jill, and one person signs up and they become a paying client? Well, that's a grand slam. Even though it violates the rules of baseball, the grand slam, one with one batter. So I said, okay, I'll put it back on. So what I did is I took that legal size flyer and I went to every single networking breakfast and lunch I could find for the next 2 weeks, up to the day before the event. I'm up there with my 60 seconds of fame talking about my event. And it turned out that actually 18 people registered, 19 people showed up.
Nice.
And from that workshop, I offered to do a free strategic planning session. And catalyzed by that workshop, within 43 days of that workshop, so 73 days from the scheduling of the workshop and 43 days after the workshop, I had enough clients. I was bringing in $10,500 a month
That's
on a
awesome.
12-month contract,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't think it was any big deal. I'm like, but I did talk to Beverly Hills and said, yeah, I think I'm going to do something else. Sorry. I felt bad. Sorry, but no thanks.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember the day I made that call. So that was 2005, right? And like I said, I didn't think it was any big deal until I started talking to other coaches, and they were like, "You did what?" And then one of my clients that I coached about 6 months later, he beat my record. He created a steady annualized six-figure revenue stream in 70 days, right? I've had other people come close, like 99. Um, One person did it 392 days. But anyhow, so fast forward to where we are today. I mean, fast forwarding the history, the timeline. You and I have worked together in a number of ways. As friends, we've talked, as collaborators on projects. We've given each other advice along the way. And so you've seen my evolution where I've been involved in, creating a tool we used for financial analysis of a Fortune 500 aerospace manufacturing company's supply chain. We were analyzing these multi-million dollar companies, subcontractors for their financial health and how much more business the prime contractor could give to them before bankrupting them, right? And I thought, oh, this is a great tool for entrepreneurs, and no, it's too sophisticated. So after that project ended, my business partner at the time and I tried to create software for entrepreneurs to understand the money side of their businesses. Because what I noticed is a lot of business coaches didn't address the money side of things. I'm like, what? How can you do that? Along the way, we ended up writing this book. I don't know if you can see it here. It's Financial Statements Made Practical. It's a visual
I like it.
step-by-step guide, right? And
And you did that
there's
when?
a bunch of
What
books
year?
I have. This is 2000. What was the year? I'll look in we wrote this in 2013, I think it was. Yeah, 2013.
Okay.
And then we did a second edition in 2017.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was and I knew how to do this from the book publishing mentorship program,
Yay.
right? And it truly is a visual guide. But but that, you know, I don't know why, Jill. This is not going to be a New York Times bestseller. Why? If you want to go to sleep quickly, buy the book because it's not going to keep you up at night. But anyhow, so then we tried to build software to, make this more practical for business owners and leaders to understand what's going on, what the story that their numbers are telling them. But we didn't know how to do that. Didn't know how to market it. It was just horrible. We just spent a lot of money. So my business partner didn't want to put any more money into it, so we stopped. That was like 2013. No, sorry, 2017 we stopped. And then after COVID ended, because I never gave up on the idea other than stopping to work on it. But after COVID ended, I remember thinking, well, I wonder if this would be a good time to bring this software back. Because in the COVID era, I had gotten involved with a startup with an online event platform, and I learned a lot about project managing developers, working with people in international online remote team. And I had become a conversion copywriter over the last several years. So I thought it was my copy that didn't work with the app. That was part of it, but not the whole picture. But so I took another run and I created the brand More Profit Rocket in February of 2020. When it was 2021. Oh no, 2022. 2022. February 2022, I created More Profit Rocket. And I thought since I had an MVP of the app, Profit Stash, that this would move really quickly. 2 years later, 2 years later, the app has turned into a whole animal, like different. I mean, it has the functionality I envisioned, but the complexity involved in making it a reality far more far more involved than I thought, right? Because I thought, "Hi, what can be so hard about this, Joe? You're going to set business goals that are interconnected. You're going to set financial, sales, and marketing goals. What's so hard about that? And then you're going to track your progress against the goals. You have your goals, you check your actual results towards the goals and your predicted results towards the goals. You're all set. No. What if you have recurring products, recurring revenue from products and services? It's a whole, you have to track all that. Is it recurring annually, quarterly, monthly, right? Some products may be just a one-time sale. Some products may be recurring. Ah, and then you track your cash flow as well, right? So here we are, and so I'm excited because we're still, developing and adding functionality. But as I've been using this with clients, I've learned things that need to be added to the app as well. And I wasn't sure, is this something business owners want to use, or is this really for business advisors, right? I think it's maybe too complicated for the typical business leader or business owner or founder to use, but they need the data. They need the insights that this app gives them to make better, more confident decisions more quickly that lead to stronger cash flow and higher levels of profitability and business growth. So right now, what I'm doing is, and the people who are using Profit Stash are coming in because they want business advice. So now I'm thinking, okay, is this model really a coaching service that has an app that's really amazing and it's unique? Probably, but we're still testing. So then I started thinking, and this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you. Well, okay, so we're still developing. I'm spending a lot of money on developing the app, and it'd be good to get a return on investment from all the work that I put into this. So I said, okay, let's accelerate the revenue. Let's do a rapid revenue acceleration program for Profit Stash, More Profit Rocket, and Profit Stash. So you and I were talking about this, and so you know the benchmark I set in 2005, right? And then you said, well, what would be we were talking about how, okay, it has to be quicker than 70 days. That's what the benchmark my client said. So I said, okay, Jill, how about 60 days? You said, okay, that sounds great, great. All right, 60 days. But then you said, well, what's the revenue goal? And I said, well, Jill, I set it at 10,500 back in 2000 or 2005. And you said, do you remember what you said? You said bigger.
Yeah.
Um, no, I should have hung up the phone at that point. No, no. So I said, okay, what would be bigger? And this is, so I said, okay, we'll double it, 21,000. Okay, so is this partly pulling goals out of the air, which I don't advocate? Yes, but I do have a benchmark we're working from. And so what I'll do, and I'll show this probably in a separate video, I'll put these numbers into Profit Stash in the goal builder so people can see how this all plays out in terms of the financial sales and marketing goals. But that's the game. So $21,000 in monthly recurring revenue within 60 days. The start date today, Monday, January 8th. This is the kickoff day. All
Oh
right.
my
These
goodness.
official kickoff day.
This is
And
it?
then the 60th day is that this is it
Oh my
right here,
goodness.
right here.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
And then the ending date is Thursday, March 7th,
Okay.
11:59 p.m. Pacific time.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, probably in a separate video, I'll list out all the planning that's involved. But in a nutshell, the plan needs to involve okay, so if we start from the end in mind, I'll calculate using the business goal builder how many customers and clients there need to be because there's three different tiers of Profit Stash. and I'll show the different scenarios. And then, but to get those customers, what needs to happen working backwards? Well, I need to be in front of a lot of people, right? And so I'm planning to do an online workshop that would invite people to sign up for the more profits, one of the more profit stash levels. And the workshop's going to be hands-on, so they're going to learn how to set business goals that are interconnected and understand their more profit blind spots. And then, but then before that, how do I invite people to that online workshop? And I'll do multiple online workshops. Well, I need to go to different chambers of commerce and networking events and hold up my flyer and invite people, right?
Yeah,
So that's what I need to do. And then obviously we do need a way for people to sign up, right, for the workshop. So that's the plan in a nutshell. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. What do you think are the biggest takeaways from the past, let's say 20 years that you're going to need to be successful over the next 60 days?
That's a great question. So I think it's keep things as simple as possible. Focus on one's strengths. So in my case, one of my strengths is speaking. I can talk and present online and especially in person. And it's a lot of fun for me. And I think that also, another strength is I didn't have the experience that I have now. I didn't have a tool like Profit Stash that enables me to provide even greater value to clients. Right. And so I think the other thing is that I have more of a network of collaborators and people who know me. Back then, I was a nobody. Nobody knew me from, not that I'm world famous now, but I just have more connections now, right? So I forgot what the original question was. Oh, what is the takeaway from way back then? Okay. So the other thing is that I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm doing a strategy with some upgrades and modifications. I've already run it before. I'm not trying to learn how to build an AI app to do automatic sales for me. That would be a whole new learning curve, right? So I'm using the learning curve. I'm building on the learning curve I've already been through. I
I
know
love
it's
that.
tempting to try to learn something new, right?
You know that this works
It's
and you've known that this succeed, like you've done this before. You're just gonna
yeah,
double it all, right? And
exactly.
maximize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll make a little comment that Profit Stash is pretty amazing. It's a great tool. Um, Gosh, it gets into the nitty-gritty and it gives you like real data to work with
Yeah.
in setting your financial goals. And, you know, I think these are numbers any business needs to know. If you don't know these
Yeah.
numbers, how
Yep.
are you gonna make decisions? So I do love
Exactly.
what you've created with that.
Yeah. I'm excited to make that video. I'll make it as a standalone and I'll narrate my thinking behind it. And there are different scenarios I'll show, but it'll be fun to use that tool. Cool. Well, thanks for this, Jill, for letting me get on my
Besides,
little
I have
dialogue.
one more question for you, if you're okay with that.
Of
Besides,
course.
like breaking your goal, bringing in, twice as much as you did in 2005 and doing it even faster than you did in
Yeah.
the past and your clients have done, like what is the passion? Like why is this important to
Oh,
you? What's
yeah.
the passion behind all this?
Oh, that's a great question, Jill. So I I'm gonna answer that in two ways. Okay. One way is from heart-based answer, and the other is from a business pragmatic answer. Okay. So from the heart position perspective, so when I started my plastic surgery practice in 2000 or sorry, 1995, I had been through 7 years of surgical residency, 5 years of general surgery, 2 years of plastic surgery residency after 4 years of medical school. And I wanted to be a plastic surgeon since I was 17. And I was like, this is great. my dream come true. I'm a plastic surgeon. I'm a board certified plastic surgeon. 1995, July 1995. And within 2 years, so by 2007, I was broke. I was the people begging for money on the streets of Seattle had a better net worth than me. There's a zero. Mine was like negative, I don't know, $350,000. And my accountant at the time suggested I declare bankruptcy, which I thought was a lousy idea because I needed somebody to teach me about running a practice, running business. I didn't declare bankruptcy. I figured if I can become a plastic surgeon, I can learn how to run a practice. So I turned things around by studying marketing and selling and managing people and communication and business money management. And so when we fast forward 10 years later, 9 years later to when I left plastic surgery, this is how I didn't realize I knew a lot about business. But after I created revenue quickly and people started getting results from me advising them, I realized I had become the business guide and mentor that I wished that I had had back in 1995, 1997, 98. And I feel bad for that kid. I'll call that 32-year-old kid, right? Because George back then was naive and ambitious at the same time, but didn't know anything about running a practice. And it was really hard. It was really hard. So I really
Do they teach you
am
that
excited.
in medical school?
No,
No?
you know the advice I got from one of the senior plastic surgeons when I came to Seattle? Oh, George, you're really well trained. I know the guys you train with. And just do good work. The rest will take care of itself. And I'm like, I'm all set. I'm trained to do good work. I'm committed. I'm dedicated. I'm going to get better. Yeah, that's how I got into near bankruptcy. No, that's such a naive statement. Just do good work and the rest will take care of itself. You mean I can just go into the operating room and sit in the corner and my practice is going to run by itself? No. But I took him literally because I didn't know. I mean, it sounds pretty stupid, but it was just being naive. Yeah. So, okay, so now from a practical standpoint, so I've been funding the app development from my own pocket. I don't have venture capital or, stuff like that. But at a certain point, if the app and the business model doesn't produce a return on investment, it's not viable,
Mm.
right? So I have to prove that this model is desirable by people, business leaders, and business advisors, because a business advisor who's accountant, bookkeeper, coach, consultant could use this to become more valuable to their clients and attract more clients, right? So I need to prove that this is desirable to business leaders and business advisors. I need to prove that the model is viable in terms of return on investment, profitability, and cash flow. I do know it's feasible because I've been coaching since 2005 and we've been building the app. I have a couple of developers helping build the app. I used to be the original one of the developers, but it went over my level pretty quickly. Yeah. So that's long-winded answer to why behind this. And this mainly, I really to this nanosecond became the business guide and mentor that I wish that I had had. And I also think and feel very strongly that if people are offering business advice, it needs to have a data-driven component that ties to their financial sales and marketing numbers. And I'm not Mr. Doctor Numbers person. That's why I created the app because I don't, I just want to know what are the numbers telling me and suggesting that I do for course corrections.
Yeah, I love that. Really good.
Thanks for asking that
So,
question.
so
Yeah.
necessary. I mean, I know so
Yeah.
many business coaches, even myself, who I stay away from like the financial numbers and I just pass them all off to you, so that you
Well,
can.
well, that's one thing. I didn't talk much about the app, but we've added an AI component. It's called Captain Stash because our mascot is a squirrel, and the squirrel is Captain Stash. He's got initials after his name, Captain Stash SEO. It stands for Senior Edutainment Officer. Yeah. So inside one of the all the levels of Profit Stash, there's AI recommendations from Captain Stash based on your numbers.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So what's next? If today is day one, what
They
is next?
so I've started mapping out what Chamber of Commerce events I'm going to go to starting this week. The first one is on Wednesday. All right. So I've got a race to create a flyer. I don't have any flyer. Okay, because I'm going to hold it up. And then I'm going to invite people at the event. So it's going to be, I'm doing a hands-on workshop, and people need to bring a digital device to the online workshop because we're going to do actual work, not this workshop and just hear me be a talking head, right? So it's going to be probably $100 workshop, but for the people, if they give me their email address at whatever events I go to, I'll give them a VIP pass. I'll send them a coupon code. Okay. So that I've got to create, and I have to set up this whole sign up system for the online event, right? Got to do that too. And then I need a sign up page, so a landing page for that, right? And then I need to have reminder emails after people sign up, right? And then I'll need to do this more than once, right? I don't know what my conversion rates are going to be, so this can't be a one and done. And so I need to also I'll put together a list of people I know who know me and trust me and see, can they help me promote? This is a game I'm playing. I'll pay you a percentage of what we make. And can you help? I didn't have anybody to ask to help when I did this in 2005, right? So that's the high level game plan.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're even better positioned now than you were back then. So I know it's going to happen for you, and it's going to
I
be
think so.
a fun ride. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be no matter how it turns out. I mean, there's no guarantee that I'll hit the goal. I'm playing to win. I'm playing to win. Um, Regardless of how it turns out, we're gonna have a lot of fun, and we're gonna learn a lot of things, and we're gonna learn things we didn't even think about that we would learn, right? But I'm confident we can hit the goal. I'm going for it.
I'm
Yeah.
confident you're going to bypass the goal.
Oh, there you go. Oh my gosh, you just raised the bar.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you could do it. Yeah.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to remind me. And I mean, this is not, the thing that a lot of people don't see is that confidence goes up and down, energy levels go up and down, right? And as excited as I am right now, this very moment, there are going to be times where I'm like, "Hey, Jill, what was I thinking?" You know? I mean, full transparency. Do I want to go to Chamber of Commerce events and hold up my flyer? No. Can I do it? Have I done it before? Am I good at it? Yes. But I would rather go hit tennis balls than go to Chamber of Commerce events and hold up my flyer. Will I do it because it's important for the business? Yes. Will I do it especially because we're putting this out publicly that this is the game we're playing? Yes. And that's part of why I wanted to have this conversation, Jill, and put this out publicly so that like it gives me more motivation. It's not just something I can just go, oh yeah, we don't need to do that right now. I'm going to go play tennis now. No,
Yeah.
there is a deadline.
Well, and I'm
There are
guessing
people watching.
some of those people with your tennis, they could be partners for you too and helping you promote. And that way
Good
you're doing
point.
both. Like
Yes.
you're
There
making
you
this
go.
happen and you're doing what you
Yeah.
love. Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me. Yes, everywhere. That's the thing. And so everywhere that I went back in 2005, I'd had flyers with me in the car. If I went to the dry cleaner, right? When I went to the supermarket, I put on their billboards in the supermarket. Yeah, it's like you never know. You just
Yeah.
literally never know where people are going to come from,
Yeah.
right?
Put it out there, take the action, and then just let it
Mhm.
come. Yeah.
I have to do what I can do to make it easy for people to find not just me. It's not about me, George. It's about the resource. It's about the pathway
The
for
tool.
people building a business that fulfills their values and their vision and that is sustainably profitable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that financial freedom part that every business owner wants, right? And
Yeah.
probably one of the main reasons why they started the business in the first place. So
Well, yeah, and for a lot of people, it's the financial freedom. It's also the creative self-expression. They might not use that term, but it's like, oh, I want to be in a business that I'm calling the shots, and I get to do what brings me joy, right? The problem is that if people don't understand the numbers and the story that their numbers are telling them, there frequently is no joy in the business. It's heartache, right? So I want to contribute what I can to minimize the heartache that's involved.
beautiful. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anything else you think we should cover, Jill?
Um, the only other question that comes to mind is like, what kind of support do you need to make this happen?
Yeah. Well, from a mechanical logistical standpoint, I know what needs to be done for the flyer and the sign up, right? But I think the biggest support, there are two kinds. One is encouragement, because as I said, I mean, it's nearly impossible to do this alone. Okay. And we all need our own advisors, cheerleaders, coaches. Look at professional athletes at the highest levels. They all have coaches with very, very rare exception in individual sports. Okay. In team sports, you always have coaches and in assistant coaches as well. So that's important. And I know I can call you, text you, Jill, like, what's happening here? Going crazy. And then from the other point, help is spreading word of mouth, right? Once I get the flyers and the landing page, is anybody who's interested in supporting the cause, um, share the link. And if you want, get in touch with me and George at moreprofitrocket.com, and I can set you up with an affiliate link.
I love
Yeah,
it. Good. Awesome.
cool. Well,
All
thanks so
right.
much, Jill. This has been fun. This
Yeah,
has been actually uniquely fun because we got to talk about the journey from when I was still practicing as a plastic surgeon to what happened and then what we're doing today.
that's so fun. I wish you all the best, and it's going to be a remarkable journey, and I know you're going to succeed beyond your wildest dreams, and in the meantime, help a ton of people too that need this. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I support you 100%.
Thanks, Jill.